Hello ladies and gentlemen, today we have Infiniti FX35. It is 2005 and we are replacing the thermostat on this car. So it's this little rusty guy over there. So for this job you obviously need a new thermostat. It comes with the housing and a gasket. I will leave a link in the description to the video below with all the parts and tools you may need. We also need some distilled water and concentrate antifreeze. Also, for this type of cooling system, we need a special funnel so we can fill it up. Not a must, but really nice to have. So first thing you want to do is to open the radiator cap. Make sure that vehicle is not hot. It should be cold, and it's always a good idea to grab a rag, put it on top, and then open it. Because if for some reason there is some pressure build up, this rag will protect your face and the rest of the body from the hot coolant, if it's hot for some reason. We'll just put this cap aside. So now we are under the vehicle and we want to drain coolant. We will be changing coolant, all the coolant that we can. So we will pop this cover off. And there is a Phillips screwdriver valve. So we will get some pails underneath and we'll start loosening it. So it seems like when it's open, it's open. We want to capture as much as we can so we don't spill too much on the floor. Since this is a hazardous product. Oh no. And quite honestly, it might have been a good idea to remove this plastic shield. Alright, so while coolant is draining, I will go ahead and remove this plastic air intake housing. You don't need to do that. I will take it off just for the purpose of better access and capturing the video. There are two clips, one on this side, one on this side. Pop it up and this should come off. Alright, so next we will remove the hoses from the thermostat. So there is one bigger hose and we just use channel lock pliers. We'll squeeze it, pull it back, and we'll do the same with the smaller hose. You need to grab the smaller pliers. There is a special tool for that I don't have for those type of clamps, so I'll just use regular pliers. Just need to make sure that the clamp is all the way back, so it's not holding the hose to the flange. So now what we will do, we need to break the seal between the hose and that flange. So basically, usually what works really well, if you just grab the hose and spin it around a bit, that should break the seal and you can pull it out. The same with this bigger one. Just wanna grab it. At this point we don't care about the old thermostat, so if we somehow damage it, it's not a big deal. But yeah, you just wanna swing it like that, then it should come off. Now we can hear that more coolant is coming out. So don't remove your catch pail until you remove all the hoses. This is how the thermostat sits. There are 1, 2, and 3 10mm bolts, so you'll get those. I'll just use my impact to get the bolts out, but you can just do it with the regular ratchet and a socket. The bottom one is a little bit hard to see. There is another dump of coolant. My apologies, I lose my video through the installation process, but what you need to do, and you need to make sure that all the area around the thermostat is clean. In my case, there was lots and lots of debris stuck just around the housing, the old housing. So before you put the new one, make sure that you take a wire brush and clean everything out, so when you put a new thermostat, nothing gets in between. When you put the gasket on, you can just put your bolts through, so the gasket stays on your bolts, and then put it all together. Some gaskets will have self-adhesive, so you can actually make it stick to the surface and put it in. But if you put the bolts through, the bolts will hold the gasket. And whenever you install your bolts, you just torque them to 90-inch pounds. Inside, so now we can just put it back on. Use our channel lock pliers, squeeze the clamp, push it back, make sure it sits well. Alright, so next we will install the drain plug. There is a little O-ring, so check if it's still in good shape. If it's cracked, please replace it. We will just screw it back on and put that plastic cover on. Okay, so we'll just grab our plug, put it in a screwdriver, insert it back in. Make sure it's tight, don't screw it too hard, since there is that O-ring that's supposed to keep it sealed. It's not like a compression fitting that you need to get it tight. I'll just put this. Next we'll install the funnel to get the system filled up, just like that. Right, so we'll start filling it up. For the coolant, I'm using 70-30% mix, so 70% of concentrate and 30% of water. We are in Canada, and 50-50 is not the best option, since it's good to like minus 37 or 35, and sometimes we have temperature goes below minus 40. And to be quite honest, even if we fill with 70-30, it still will mix with the rest of the coolant that is inside. So at the end, we will be lucky if we have 40-60, what is basically ideal combination in terms of freeze protection and also the how aggressive it is, how corrosive it is. So at the end of the day, we would expect to be at 60-40. So 1 liter went in, we'll put another one. Here's another liter, and if you are wondering what coolant you should be using, which color, to be quite frank, it doesn't matter, as long as it's rated for your vehicle. The color is just additive and nothing else. As long as you use distilled water to mix it, you will be fine. So this is the 3rd liter of coolant going in. So I just use regular pressed on concentrate. We never ever had an issue with it. The colors are usually just to make the customer more comfortable when they buy it, so it matches the color what is in the vehicle, but it's just a color. So liter number 4, and we should be getting quite close. So it will bubble and bubble and bubble. That's a good thing. We want to get all the air out of the system before we even start the vehicle, as much as we can. That's been 4 liters. So with the 4 liters in, you can see that there is already coolant in the funnel and not going down anymore. So what we will do, we'll grab this hose and squeeze it a few times to get more air out. Remember that your thermostat is still closed, so there most likely is air around it. So we'll squeeze this hose a few times, and then we will take supply hose, use it a few times. You can still see that there's a little bit of fluid, coolant in it. So at this point, it's safe to start the vehicle and let more air come out. So we'll start the vehicle, let it warm up to 90 degrees roughly. The thermostat is set to 82. Make sure that it opens, make sure that this hose gets hot. After that, we'll shut the vehicle, check the coolant level. So now when the vehicle is running, we want to make sure that there is a little bit of fluid in this funnel, because if it goes down, we don't want to air get in, so we will top it up right now. Alright, so the engine temperature went up, the fan kicked in, the fluid started bubbling and it got on the belt. Now it's making a noise, not a big deal. But this hose was still cold when the engine was running. So what I've done, I shut the engine down, and that reduces the pressure in the system and more air can come out. And now I can feel that this hose is getting warm. So the thermostat actually opened when the engine was shut down. So now we will turn it back on and we'll make sure that this hose gets really hot. So here we can see that the temperature gauge is actually going down now. It was all the way horizontal in the middle, but now when the thermostat opened, the cold coolant from the radiator gets in, so it will drop a bit and then it will go up. Now let's try this hose. Yeah, and it's getting hot, so it means the thermostat opened. So we will let it run for another probably 20 minutes. We'll make sure that the engine does not get overheated. The temperature stays at the normal operating temperature. And also we'll take a close look on the fluid level, coolant level, to make sure that it's not dropping anymore. Okay, so we can hear that the fan has kicked in, so the temperature of the engine is high right now. The fluid getting high too because it's expanding, it's hot. We'll check this hose again, and it's hot. So at this point, we know that the system is filled with fluid, both engine and radiator. The thermostat opens, the fan kicks in when it's needed. So at this point we can shut the engine and remove any excessive coolant out and put the plug back in. Okay, so now we can remove any excessive coolant. So there is a plug like this, comes with this funnel, which is great. So now we can pull it off. There will be very little leak, and the rest we can put in a container. Now we'll get the original plug back in. One last thing that I want to do is actually drain the coolant from this expansion reservoir, just to make sure that we can put fresh coolant and don't mix it with the old one. So just remove this hose, put it in a container and lower it down. So that should drain all the coolant from the container. from the reservoir, and we will replace it with the fresh coolant. Right, so the expansion reservoir is empty. We'll get this hose back on. Now we will go ahead and fill it with the fresh coolant. More fresh coolant we can get into the system, the better. So we are just a little bit above the max level with 1 liter of fluid, and that's what I want to be since the engine is hot right now, and most likely there will be some air coming out, and that's where it will end up. So the air will come out, go into this reservoir, and pull the coolant back in when it needs it. So last thing will be to put this air intake back on with those 2 clips, and we call it done. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Please check links in the description to the video for parts and tools that you might need. And as always, just do it yourself.